Two new huge bombshells in the story of the 22-year-old missing woman, Gabby Petito. She's the van life fan. Her fiance, Brian Laundrie, is still not talking to the police or anybody else involved in this investigation. The second part of these bombshells is going to blow your mind, so stick with me. Now we have a TikTok user who claims she picked up Brian Laundrie hiking in a Grand Teton National Park alone. Alone being the key word there. A TikTok user claims she picked up Brian Laundrie, the boyfriend of missing woman Gabby Petito, while he was hiking alone in Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming in late August. In a video, we're going to watch this in one moment, so stick with me. On TikTok, published today, a user by the name of Miranda Baker said on August 29th, she and her boyfriend picked up Brian Laundrie, who she said was hiking alone in Grand Teton National Park at 5:30 p.m. The alleged incident was 4 days after Gabby's family last heard from her and 3 days before Laundrie showed up in Florida alone. So this bridges the gap in the timeline a little bit. Here is her TikTok page. This is the first entry that started getting attention.
Hi, my name is Miranda Baker, and on August 29th, my boyfriend and I picked up Brian at Grand Teton National Park at 5:30 at night at Coulter Bay. I'm hoping this can help someone identify him because I saw him from TikTok, which then made me call the authorities, and my boyfriend and I have been in contact with a bunch of different people to help piece together different parts of this case. But we picked him up at Coulter Bay, like I said, at 5:30. He approached us asking us for a ride because he needed to go to Jackson, which we were going to Jackson that night. So I said, hop in. He hopped in the back of my Jeep. We then, proceeded to make small talk, but before he came in the car, he offered to pay us like $200 to give him a ride, like 10 miles. So
$200?
That was kind of weird. He then told us he's been camping for multiple days without his fiance. He did say he had a fiance, and that she was working on their social media page back at their van. Then once, in conversation, I brought up, we're going to Jackson. He freaked out. He's like, nope, I need to get out right now. Pull over. So we pulled over at the Jackson Dam, which I don't know if you know Teton Park, but it's not very far from Coulter Bay. And if this does reach people, I can post pictures of exactly where we picked him up and the whole route or whatever. And
so she remembers exactly where they were when they saw him, when they encountered him. He was being very strange. He offered to pay way too much for a ride and then freaked out when he heard where they were going. And again, the second bombshell is going to blow your mind even more. We've got more from this witness, though.
Shots of the timestamps. We dropped him off at 6:09 p.m. on August 29th. He kind of hurried out of the car. And then he's like, okay, I'm just going to go find someone else to, hitchhike. And we're like, okay. It was a weird situation. So when we picked him up, he was wearing a backpack. He had a long sleeve, pants, hiking boots, and he had scruff. But he didn't look dirty. For someone who was camping for multiple days, he didn't look dirty. He didn't smell dirty. So that part was kind of weird. And I'm just really hoping that they find her. And this helps.
There she is. This is the TikTok that started all of this and led to headlines just like this one that you're seeing. This from Fox 13, but going around the wires on the company that owns that station. And this woman sounds like she's legitimate. People started to say to her, well, why didn't you talk to the police? She said she did talk to the police.
I just want to reiterate again, everything I am telling you guys, I've already told the FBI, I've told the detectives, I am actively in contact with these people who are on the case, so everything I have told you, they do know. I'm just putting this out here because I want to reach people who have maybe seen him that day or have been in contact with him before, after my boyfriend were in contact with him. So this is when we picked him up. The exact time is 5:44. This is to my mom. We picked up a hitchhiker. She's obviously not very happy with me, and I now understand. So some common questions are, did he have a phone? No, he did not have a phone. My boyfriend and I did not see him pull out a phone at all during this time. Another thing is when he freaked out about Jackson. He has to go to Jackson. During the time I said we're going to Jackson Hole. Once I said Jackson Hole, he became agitated. He seemed like he needs to get out. He was kind of antsy, and that's when things got weird. But that's when we pulled over and he
All right. That's stopping that particular TikTok there. Keep an eye on her, Miranda Baker _ on TikTok. She seems to be legit and seems to have some leads on this. Second bombshell, and this is crazy to me. This is crazy to me. So when these two, Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie, were in Utah, they stopped by a co-op store. And at that co-op store, they got into a big blowout fight. She reportedly slapped him in the face. Police followed the van from there, and that's the body cam footage that you see where she's all agitated and crying and anxious, and she says she has anxiety and she's having sort of a meltdown. She explains that they did get into this fight, and she wants to stay with him because they're in love, et cetera, et cetera. And so the police officers leave him alone. But that co-op where the fight started, there was a woman who was part of a couple. Her and her wife were found murdered just days later. They disappeared the next day, and days later, they were found murdered. This is the couple right here on the left that I'm talking about. And this is Crystal Turner and Kylan Schultz. Crystal Turner here on the left and Kylan Schultz on the right. They found their bodies riddled with bullets, and they looked like they had been undressed. They had sent a text to a friend saying, hey, there's a creepy guy who's making us uncomfortable on our campsite. They thought somebody else had maybe arrived and done something there. But these two women, one of them worked in that co-op right where this couple got into a fight, and then just days later they disappear. It's a very, very strange coincidence. Here's the bombshell part of this, in case you're wondering. So the local news outlets, including this woman here, Megan Myers from NBC2, she reaches out to Brian Laundrie, that's the fiance, to his attorney, and she says, hey, is there any connection between these two missing women or these two lesbian couple where they both got murdered? And here's the statement from Brian Laundrie's attorney on this, okay? He says, check that out, all right? Just read that, take it all in. Law enforcement has to follow protocol and all leads that they get. Whether or not these two cases deserve to be linked will be determined at some point in the future. What? Whether or not these two cases are linked will be determined at some point in the future? This is his attorney saying this. I mean, all his attorney has to flat out say is Brian Laundrie has done nothing wrong, and he's certainly not responsible for the murder of these two women that were married in this desert where their friends stumbled upon their bullet-riddled bodies. He had nothing to do with it. He wasn't there. But he says instead, it'll be determined in the future if these two situations are linked. Just take it in one more time. I mean, that's what his attorney said. Law enforcement has to follow protocol and all leads that they get. Whether or not these two cases deserve to be linked will be determined at some point in the future. Now, you could argue he's just trying to be cagey, and he doesn't want to go, no, Brian Laundrie had nothing to do with that. And they'll go, oh, yeah, well, what about Gabby Petito? And either way you look at it, it's just a weird response. So does it lend credibility that there may be some intertwining of these two stories? The couple that was found murdered and Gabby Petito, who is still missing as of right now. Also, a tipster talks about spotting the van in Grand Teton National Park. They said this was one person that caught an eye of this. We drove through the Tetons, and the only stop we made was at Jenny's Lake, said this person. They said it was about 5 p.m. on August 25th when she and her husband spotted Petito's van in the Jenny Lake parking area. I'm sure of it. It had the black ladder on the back and the two black rooftops on top. The two bars, we made the comment, it would be the perfect little camper van to go around in. They even said it looked like the same vehicle from American Pickers, the 2012 Ford Transit van. They didn't think much of the sighting until Sunday when news started breaking of Petito's disappearance on social media. So that's spinning around out there too. They're trying to find everything they can. The police are being very clear about this. Northport Police Department and Todd Garrison are saying flat out, I believe Brian has the information. He's talking about Brian Laundrie. I believe Brian has the information. That information has not come out yet, but we do know that the focus is circling in on Grand Teton National Park, where some of these sightings went down. It is all very crazy and developing very fast. What do you think is going on here? Do you think, as crazy as it seemed and as much of a conspiracy as it seemed like, that perhaps this is linked to the murder of these two women that happened right around the same time and right around the same place? Or is it possible that this guy didn't do anything and he's just taking the advice of his attorney, which is starting to make him look really, really bad? What do you think about this? Let me know. Hit that share button to spread the word about these two latest bombshells in the Gabby Petito case with all of your friends on social. If you're new around here, well, first of all, thank you for watching. Second of all, if you want videos just like this every single day, facebook.com/thenewsjunkie. Hit that follow button and you'll get these videos. youtube.com/thenewsjunkie. Hit subscribe. My supporters on both, thank you. Appreciate you so very much for supporting and paying a little bit to keep these videos coming your way. I look forward to your comments. Thanks again for watching. We'll talk to you again real soon.